Hey to the people, how y'all doing? What's going on? It's me, Chase. This is No Chaser TV. This is Happy Hour, and I know that we're a little later than we normally start, but we are here nonetheless. There were some late breaking developments that occurred that prevented us from being on time. So I do appreciate you guys coming into the lounge when you will, if you do, because I have some things I want to get into. We should be joined later by Tori B. I'm not sure or not because we had to start a little later whether or not she'll be coming in, but we'll definitely see. Child, let me go ahead and turn this microphone the right way. Let me turn this microphone. There we go. All right, there we go. All right, y'all. What's the tea? How y'all doing? Hey, yeah. How you doing? All right, I see the people coming on into the lounge, and I do greatly appreciate that. Let me go ahead and pour me a little cocktail while I do that. I'm wait for some more people to get into this lounge, honey. In the meantime, make sure that you guys like, comment, subscribe, and turn your notification bells on to make sure that you guys know when we go live. Whenever we go live, whether it's on schedule or off, you guys will be updated to know. Thank you guys for all of the support. Yeah, we definitely have some things to talk about, most especially Next Gen NYC. And you know, we're going to talk about that. I was not going to do it because I think it's only an 8 episode run. And so I wasn't going to do it. But bitch, last night moved mother to chorus, divas and divos. Move me to chorus, bitch. And I got something I want to say about the thing. So we're going to get right into that. Let me go ahead and check in with, Tori B. I need to send her the link. Okay. That's on me, y'all. Give me 1 second. Let me do that. I'll go ahead and do that. Y'all give me un momento, por favor, and we'll go ahead and get some things started as you guys come on in the room and join us. But baby, we got some things to talk about tonight, don't we, people? Don't we have some things we need to talk about? While I'm getting everything together, are you guys enjoying Next Gen NYC overall as a whole? Are you guys into it? Let me know. Play one final game, and this game, are you ready for it? It's
Okay.
called Drop It with Drew. And let me tell you why, what it's going to be, right? So the Drop It with Drew game that me and you are going to play is you're just going to go ahead and tell us one thing that you would like the fans, the viewers, and the ladies to drop.
We need to drop this Dennis and Drew storyline. And just go pick up I Did It To Me, the album. Okay, because that definitely dropped. And that's what we need to be talking about. Not this madness with Dennis and Drew, because it's a dead end. I think they need to drop this whole tie situation, because this is getting tied. We're tired of hearing about it. We need to drop it. We need to drop this whole fictitious idea that Drew is a liar, because that was a scheme that was set up last season. And if you recall, I was vindicated in that whole Drew liar situation with Candy. That I was vindicated. So if you don't know, you need to go back and watch. Y'all just carrying old stuff to this season, so you have something to say. But there's been no lies told to these women, because I'm the truth teller. That's why I'm still here and was the last peach standing. You must be delusional. Baby, you must be losing. I ain't gonna be the one who
Child had to go ahead and turn that off because the people over there to the Bravo girls suing the people, honey. I ain't got time for that. Okay, let's see. All right, head up, Torby.
Hey, oh, this is a different.
I know we figured out later. We're gonna figure it out later. But in the meantime, thank you for joining us. Like I said, we have a lot. Well, I don't know if we have a lot to talk about, but we do have a lot to talk about if that makes sense. So let's go ahead and get right on into IT. Let's go ahead and get the thing popping. Are you enjoying NextGen NYC?
No,
You're not enjoying it. I like the show. So you
I
don't like the show at all.
I live in New York City. Is this supposed to
Okay.
be? This is falling flat with me because there are a lot of affluent young people in that age range that they could have got, and again, like uh, Roni, it could have been a lot more diverse.
But here's the thing. I think, I don't know what it was in regards to them looking for diversity. I can't speak to that piece. But there were plenty of people who were supposed to be on the show who ended up backing out of the show. So,
Okay.
like, that's a situation that they have, an issue that they have. I know for a fact in Atlanta, um, I helped cast a season of Atlanta, season 11. And so I wasn't on the actual casting team, but the casting director, I knew him, I've known him for years. And he reached out to me and asked me, were there any girls in Atlanta that, they should take a look at for season 11. And I gave him a list of girls. And some of the girls that I mentioned were on a list of people they had already seen and it didn't work out, or people like a list of people who had already refused. Then there's a list of people that they have who they're not interested in as well. Right. And so the one person that I recommended that made it through was Shamari DeVoe. I'm not saying I'm responsible for her being on the show. They may have had her on the radar as well. Other people may have recommended her as well, but I know for a fact I listed Shamari DeVoe and spoke to them about reaching out to her because, of course, her husband is R&B royalty, New Edition, BBD, all of that. R&B royalty. She is a Left Eye girl. She is one of the lead singers of Black. So I, said reach out to her. I don't know her from a can of paint. I didn't know her personality, but when I think about Atlanta and being on the scene in Atlanta at that time, she would always be out, or like doing like events in Atlanta and stuff like that, singing and all of that. So I recommended them to go to her. And they did, and lo and behold, she got on the show. So I don't know. That was on my list because I sent like 10 girls, and Shamari was on that, right? And we had a conversation about Shamari, and he was like, "I love Shamari. Do you have her information? I need to try to reach out to her." So I don't know how it happened, but it ended up happening, right? So it's a lot that goes into casting. I'm not making an excuse for casting because they get it wrong a lot.
A
You
lot.
know, they get it wrong a lot. So this is not for me to make an excuse, but also it is to say that some of the people that they want, they can't get for a number of reasons. Either the people are not interested, like Vivica A. Fox, not interested, or people who are interested for whatever the reason they are not. I was gonna give a name, but I'm not gonna give a name. Actually, you want to give a name?
Go ahead, give it.
Allegedly, Ebony Steele.
Where do I know that name from?
She used to do the Ricky Smiley Morning Show.
Oh, okay, 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 okay.
But she was in Atlanta in those circles for whatever the reason. I recommended her, and allegedly she was on the list. So
Yeah.
I don't know, you know what I mean? But like these are girls, I recommended. Some people just out of the, I knew it wasn't gonna work. Latoya Luckett, I recommended her. I knew that wasn't gonna work. Latoya does not want to do Housewives. So
I
you never
think
know.
I think somebody who would have been really great on this show, and I'm gonna say this because but I don't know if she's in New York. That's the only thing. Um, is Claudia Conway. Do
Claudia
y'all know?
Conway?
Yeah.
No, I don't
So
know this.
you, her mom and dad are literally political people. Her mother was had a stint with the first um, Trump presidency, and then her dad was a Democrat. Is a Democrat, a staunch one. So
Do you
like
think with those political backgrounds that she would want to do it?
she's liberal, so she would actually argue with her mom on the internet. Um, I think to me, I know she would have stood up for Riley in this situation.
Well, let's
um,
go ahead and talk about that
yeah,
situation. We got
but
people in the room now.
yeah, the casting, I don't know. I mean, this gentleman is 30 years old, from what I'm told.
Yeah, so let me go ahead and get into that really quickly. If you All right, let's see. So what happened on last night's episode of the Next Generation NYC or Next Gen NYC that's got everybody a buzz is Riley Burris getting into it with Charlie Zakor. I spelled his name as Zakor on a couple of my posts, and I don't even give a fuck because he doesn't deserve to have his last name spelled correctly. So I wasn't editing that. I wasn't changing it. Whatever his name is, Charlie, Chili, Charlie, Chuli, whatever your name is, bitch, you're gonna get chewed up. So with that being said, yeah, because you got me hot tonight. See, I let him slide last week, right? Because last week he got into it with Ariana Bierman and he was just very snotty and he looked down on Ariana. And it went to go to lend to the blind item and the rumor that a lot of the original cast that was initially announced, like Ming Lee Simmons and a couple of other people, dropped out once they found out more Bravo kids were going to be in the mix. Because I think Riley was the only one that was going to be in the mix, and even though Riley is a Bravo kid, I don't think that people look at even it's so interesting because even though Candy was on Housewives for 14 seasons, she's not looked at as a real housewife, and that's because her legacy and her
Yeah,
resume precedes Housewives and continues during and after her stint on Housewives. So she's not looked at as a housewife kid per se, but then people like Teresa's children and Kim Zolciak's children, they are looked at as such. And so when these names started to begin allegedly to infiltrate the cast, a lot of the people who were initially on it didn't want anything to do with it, allegedly that being Charlie included. And they quit. But Charlie, high class ass, didn't quit with them. I wonder why. Hmm.
because he needed that coin.
He needed a coin. He's a fame whore. All of that. D. All of the above.
Mhm.
However, he was not nice to Ariana. The difference was Ariana chomped his ass up, and her boyfriend swooped in and was getting ready to whip his ass. Right.
Mhm.
So that was last week. This week, hey everybody, VW, Sade, I see everybody in the room. Love, love, love. Amanda K, how y'all doing? And everybody else in the room. So this week, the group is headed to New Jersey to visit Gia, and they're on a shuttle bus where the discussion comes up about Charlie's hoes.
Mm.
Now, these hoes of Charlie did not greet anyone. So they just came in, they were doing their big one, the cameras were around, they're flirting with Charlie and the other guy. They're, doing their thing, and they did not greet themselves to the rest of the ladies or the rest of the group itself anyway. So Charlie says Riley was mad at one of the girls. And then he says that Riley was like, yo, 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 my nigga is good. You know what I'm saying? Cause it bees like that. It bees like that, doing his inflections and pursing his lips and rolling his neck and adding inflections to what he believes that Riley said. Um, so Charlie says he doesn't see what him being white has to do with anything in the race, but that was a little later. Excuse me. So after Charlie did all those inflections and rolling his neck and was doing his hands this way and that way, um, he says that Riley also said, "How dare you come up here and only speak to Charlie and not check in and see if it was cool with me?" That's what he said, right? So then Georgia Georgia infamously got into it with Riley episode 1 because Riley did not want her touching her because the girl went to the bathroom and didn't wash her hands. But not only did she not wash her hands, she touched the bottom of Ava Dash's heel and then touched her face with it. So she's just all over the place, a little dirty. No tea, no shade. This is not a knock on anybody, but she just very much give natural deodorant. Now, if y'all mad about that, I don't know what to tell y'all.
It might be a crystal.
Very natural deodorant. She very kombucha. We love those girls, but that's very Georgia, right? So Georgia speaks up and supports Riley in the moment and says that the girls never introduced themselves to any of them and it was odd. Charlie says that Riley accosted the girl. Riley then gets emotional and she says that they always try to do this to her and make her out to be an angry black woman and try to say like her actions and her interactions with them scare them and or make it like she's scaring a white girl, which she's let slide in the past, but she's over it at this point. Charlie says he doesn't see what him being white has to do with anything, and race has nothing to do with it, and it's not that serious. Uh, Riley says that it's serious to her, and you need to listen up. So Riley checks Georgia for saying that she was scary over the way that she didn't wash her hands. So Georgia was like, Riley came at me and it was scary over the whole hand washing ordeal when it wasn't scary. It was just, girl, you don't wash your hands. Keep your dirty ass away from me, right? Riley says it's just pure manners to introduce yourself to people when you come into a group. And Charlie says that Riley confronted a little girl, but the little girl handled it well. Riley says that the girl is actually probably older than her because, remind you, Riley is probably only 23 at this point, and Charlie is 30 plus. George is so damn old, they don't even list her age in a press release. So that means Georgia knocking on 38.
This just gives me ashy all the way around.
Yeah, it was real dry acting. So from there, Ava Dash jumps in. Ava says it was not Charlie's intention to be, but he is doubling down on his microaggressions and not just apologizing and shutting the fuck up. And so it makes him look even worse. Now, mind you, Ava Dash used to kick it with, I won't say it fuck, used to mess around with Charlie and decided it didn't work, but they have become friends. So this is Ava Dash's friend, Charlie, right? Who she's trying to, coach him through this moment to let him know, hey, this is a black woman. You can't do these things to black women. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, all of the above. And Charlie is not trying to hear that from Ava Dash, right? Um, it's not for him to double down on his microaggressive behavior. And so Charlie just goes ahead and apologizes if he hurt Riley's feelings. From there, they get off the shuttle. Riley calls her mom, and Candy says that Charlie wouldn't have done it if it was one of the white girls. And she loves Riley for the fact that Riley is able to be friends with anyone of any race. And Charlie's going to have to learn that you can't deal with black women in this way. Charlie then sits down with Riley and apologizes. But he then goes ahead and immediately admits that he only apologized to appease Riley. From there, Ava Dash finds out and she immediately goes and tells Riley. And Riley says, while I appreciate you telling me, aren't you offended because you too are a black woman and he's doing these things and he's putting you in a precarious position too, Diva? So now Ava Dash says that she's mad and she gets up and storms off, but she doesn't do shit about it. Riley tries to have another conversation with Charlie, and Charlie, of course, when confronted with his behavior, admits that he only apologized to shut everybody up. And so Riley wants to have the conversation and tries to make him stay there to have it. And Charlie breaks free and flees Gia's home. So when confronted with the actions of his ignorance, his white fragility sent him running. So let's get into this. And I'm gonna have to throw my Chase Luther King hat over here. I know a lot of you guys know who Chase Luther King is. If you see me over on the Lean during Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, when I was clocking Dorit her microaggressions for years left and right, and we're gonna go ahead and do this now over here. We do a lot of hooping and hollering and fussing and fighting. We might do some hooping and hollering tonight. We might do some fussing and fighting tonight. But the first wig I'm gonna tug on is that old ass bitch Charlie's. Charlie, first of all, you too old not to know better. You know way better. You know better. It is 2025. There's no way that these conversations could have escaped you about what a microaggression is, about what race is, about what all of the above is. I'm trying to figure out. Okay, all right. What all of the above is, you know what these things are. You know good and goddamn well what you was doing when you were doing it. All this ooh girl and yes, sister girl. And when we go back and look at that, first of all, Riley does not even operate, at least on camera, in that way. Okay, so I want you to understand, Charlie. Blackness is not a monolith. Everybody doesn't roll it. I roll my neck and shake my and do this and cuss and do whatever I want to do because that's what I want to do. But Riley does not operate in that way. And so it is interesting for him to clearly be in the room with Riley when she is saying, hey, what is your name? Because we've been here for a while and you haven't said anything to us. And she did it politely and she did it gently because she has to tiptoe around white fragility all the time. Not only does she have to tiptoe around white fragility because she's a black woman, she's a black woman of a certain size and stature. So you guys are going to automatically say that anything that she says to you guys when calling it out is, you know, her picking on you as if you guys are the minority in the situation. Stop it, I say. Okay? Which is not true. So not only were you microaggressive and you were stereotypical and you were a big old asshole in the way that you moved, now you have her also going into her bag. There was a lot of things to unpack from what Riley said. Her size. Obviously, we never talk about how tall she is and those things because people are tall, right? People be tall, you know, so that's not a big deal. But obviously, that's a trigger for her.
No, they only scared when it's black people who are tall and big.
Well,
And
that's what a tall black woman,
right,
right?
because
But at
when
the
it's
end of the
white
day,
people, it's not scary and it's not intimidating or scary.
and I'm not saying that Riley is a child. She is not a child. She is grown. But you are the elder in this situation. You old as hell, Charlie. Stop it with the bullshit. And the thing about Charlie is he is equally offensive across the board. But the one thing that we have seen across 3 episodes is him getting into it with the woman. And where I come from and what I see, the thing about me is me and Tori be giving to each other, but I give to anybody. So Tori B ain't exempt, right? I don't go around picking on women. We go around picking on each other's points. And so if we get into it, it's not because she's a woman. It's not because I'm a man. It's not because I'm gay. It's not because I'm fat. It's not because she's a woman. It's not because she's light skinned. It's not because of any of those things. We are genuinely having a discussion about our points of view, right? For you to consistently pick on a woman each episode so far this season, but you didn't want to get in the ring with Ariana's boyfriend last week. You know what they call it where I come from?
A bitch.
Bitch made. You're very much bitch made. Yeah, you're definitely bitch made. Absolutely. That's what they call that where I come from. So you get absolutely no respect. You absolutely must not get no kind of coochie because no man who gets coochie operates in that way. No man who don't get coochie operates in that way. Okay. And so, like how Dr. Heavenly said, oh, well, a man, well, you know, a man protects a woman. It ain't about a man protecting a woman. It ain't about a gay man protecting a woman. It's about who you are as a person and whether the integrity is in you or whether the integrity is lacking. And Charlie has no integrity for him to go around and move and operate in the way that he did. So when it was Ariana, he treated her like she was dirty trailer park trash last week, right? So that's why he looked down on her, right? And then this week, it's you and your black attitude and the way that you moved and you tried to intimidate her and she's smaller than you, like that kind of shit. Bitch, please kiss all our ass and climb a tree, Charlie. Don't play with us. From there, Tori B, um, Ava Dash says these things and tries to get him to, you know, recognize his wrongs, and he didn't want to hear that from Ava. You know, and it's because he doesn't look at Ava as a black woman, and that's because she's a mixed one.
Yeah. You know why I'm not surprised though? I live in New York and these type of people like Charlie live in their own little world in which they surround themselves with people who look like them. And so they are not checked. They go unchecked. But this is very reminiscent of our society, which is why I wouldn't watch something like this, because this would trigger the shit out of me. Okay?
I didn't expect it to trigger me in that way. Like I said, there were things that have happened on the show there's always been something to talk about every episode. Don't see no shade. But
I don't like the racial undertones. Like I'm starting
this
to
is the first
think.
time I felt the racial undertone. And it wasn't even that you felt it. This is the first time that not only did you feel it, but you saw it. You know what I mean? And it's the unspoken elephant in the room. Let's go ahead and get through the scenes, and then we'll talk about the rate. We'll talk
Okay.
about that because that's something that we definitely want to talk about. But I just want to go ahead and break down the scenes first, and then we can go ahead and get into the ramifications of Riley being the only black person amongst the white cast. And when I say only black person, I understand and I recognize there are people of color on that cast. But we're going to talk about what we mean, or what I mean by the only black person on that cast. Okay, and it is what it is. And I know that may sound ignorant, but y'all are going to go ahead and have a conversation. From there, Riley calls Candy, and Candy stood 10 toes down by her baby. She does not play about her baby, and I'm glad that they aired it, and she said it on camera. He wouldn't have done it if it was one of the white girls. Period, point blank, poo. Now, he does try all the women, but the way he came for Riley was rooted. It was rooted in racism.
Mm.
I got to call a thing a thing. I didn't call him a racist. And I'm not giving the thing about me, and I'm notorious. I don't give nobody the benefit of the doubt when it comes to racism. You display some racist ass shit, that's racist. I don't know how to. I don't compute it any other way. Oh, well,
And
maybe he's a soft racist. Maybe he's the baby racist and
I'm
racist
never a
behavior is
racist
racist
is
behavior.
racist.
So,
I don't care. Yeah, he's an entitled prick. And
yeah,
on
he's
top
very
of
smug.
that, he is, very privileged. So therefore he really walks in that. And so because he is always at the center, this is how certain people act. And we can say that something happened in the WNBA the other day that was very reminiscent of this. Caitlin Clark and them not being fined for starting fights and whatnot. But had it been black women starting fights, I believe Angel Reese caught a tech for after she was provoked. But a full out brawl, almost brawl, basically, and nobody has been fined or suspended. So this is very, like I said, very much of what's happening in American society today. And this is nothing new. There are white people who are woke, and I don't, because they also hijack our words and turn it into something negative. And who are enlightened and will put people in their place. But I just, Riley taking up for other people when they're wronged, and yet nobody takes up for her when this is happening to her. And I'm talking about what's Meredith's son's name? I always forget his damn name.
Brooks.
Yeah, Brooks.
Well, Brooks does this thing because he's not confrontational, where he thinks he could just be an emotional support animal and sit next to you. And that speaks volumes because I'm here with you in solidarity. Sister, no bitch, open up your mouth. No.
Use your privilege for
Solidarity is
good,
not love.
Brooks. Use your privilege for good.
Someone says, is Ariana's boyfriend rich? Yes, he is, Sean. His father is one of the co-founders of the Zaxby's franchise.
Oh.
Yeah, he's rich.
Well, she's smart.
Well, they met when she thought she had money, so they broke up and they got back together. So he's been through it all of it with her.
Yeah.
Well, she was there when she did have the money, and he's been there with her while she didn't. So that's true love. I was side eyeing, but I'm not side eyeing it. I think it's true love.
Yeah.
Hope it works out. She deserves the heir. She deserves to be the heiress to something because
Her mother that drags her through.
yeah.
Oh, God.
And you know what? I want to say I really like Ariana. I know people, we talk about who should speak up and who shouldn't. I'm going to give Ariana a pass for not saying anything because that is a situation where What do you say? I mean, I don't know. I just don't like. I think that Ariana will say something. I don't know anything, by the way, but Ariana doesn't give me that she's going to allow that to continue to happen and not say something, you
Right.
know. But yeah,
And
Ariana's
if
all right with
Riley
me.
comes to your defense, you should also be like, hey, this is going too far and you wrong. Just admit you wrong. You don't have to go down the rabbit hole of, yo, you being racist or that's microaggression. She's offended and she's crying to the point that she's crying. And you need to address this because you was wrong. It never needed to go this far.
You know, I'm so glad that Riley called Ava Dash to the carpet because you're a black woman too. You're not offended?
Hmm.
Or do you
Well,
not operate in that black womanhood?
you know, and well, you know who her cousin, well, her daddy cousin is. Her
Who is
great cousin.
her mama is who?
Her mama is Rachel Roy.
Right.
She's a designer.
Yeah, I know who her mama is.
Yeah, her cousin, her daddy's cousin is Stacy Dash. So
Uh-uh.
yes, yeah, that's his cousin. So I'm
Mm.
not really surprised. I would venture to say she's probably more of a Stacy than anything else.
Mm. Well, her daddy says she on a date white man, and that's on her. You know, whether you date white men, I don't give a damn. But that's what her dad said. I don't think I, blackness again is not a monolith, but there are some people who get to pick and choose when they operate in their blackness fully. And there are some people like Riley who can't, no matter who she's ingratiated with and who she surrounds herself with and who she chooses to be her friend. Riley comes out very much like a bro, in that sense where like, you know, she was like, you know, she didn't introduce herself to a bro, like, you know, like that kind of thing. And like all of my bros, their girls introduced themselves to us and stuff like that. Like very just like early 20s, like collegey, you know, that's what it feels like. Um, there's a conversation going on right now as to why would she be on that show.
Listen, here's the other thing. Whether she likes Stacy or not doesn't mean she don't act like her. I I have an aunt that I don't talk to, and I like, and people always say my attitude is like her, and it is what it is. Genes is genes. Pathology is pathology. To me, like, you know, Stacy just operates more in her being mixed and other than being black. And, you know, I don't know if y'all know, Ava used to date Diana, who used to be on Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. Her son, one of her sons. So,
And she
you
used to
know,
date Charlie.
Charlie is her son.
No.
Oh, I was about to say. So also she comes from money. I don't know, like I don't know, and I don't know what her mother raised her as. So I just, I, as somebody who is both Puerto Rican and black, my mama had moments where she's like, "You black," and not I identify me as Puerto Rican at all. So I get it. I'm not judging her, but as somebody who is mixed, it happens. Depends on what parent you're mostly raised with. And not to say Dame wasn't present. Dame absolutely was present. It's just I'm pretty sure she spent more time with her mom.
Bring Kayla on. Yeah, yeah. Kayla is a good time. You know, I don't know her personally, but I do have former friends that were friends of hers, and they just always they had a good time, taking shots, having fun, and stuff like that. So Kayla looks like she's a good time. There is also, I think that Riley's friends with that corporate baddie guy Dre.
Oh, why Dre not on there?
Well, I mean, this was filmed way before.
Oh, he moved to New York too.
He did move to New York. If it gets to season 2, y'all gotta watch it though. So I don't know if it gets to season 2. Maybe he can come on. You know what
Dre
I
will
mean?
whack them. You hear me?
He would actually probably be the spice that show needs.
Yes. Yes.
Ariana is spicy. Ariana's coming for Ava next week, and it's going to be interesting to watch because Ava came for Ariana first. And guess what? I hope Riley does. Sit back and says nothing. But from there, Charlie got up in his white fragility, sent him running out of the room. And so the conversation is, why is Riley on a show with the predominantly white cast? Like I said, it didn't start out that way really, but a lot of those people dropped out. So she's left with who they have left. And the conversation is how Bravo drops these drops of blackness into these all white casts. And it's like, all right, homie, you on your own.
Yeah. Not a fan.
And it's also a conversation that could be had that, and I've said it in the past, Bravo tends to pick black people that are palatable. Is it palatable or palatable?
Palatable.
Yes. That are palatable. And what I mean by that is they like, okay, Garcelle on Beverly Hills, right? She was the first Haitian American housewife, right? Or Haitian housewife, because I don't think she's American. First Haitian housewife, right?
Right.
And then Bose is what?
Bose is African. So it would be Wendy. Wendy would be the first African.
Wendy is not African American.
She's African, but not.
Yes.
But so is Bose.
So what I'm
Bose
saying is they tend to pick, like, either they pick people that are palatable or they pick people that are black with a twist. So Wendy was black, but she was Nigerian housewife. Yeah. They purposely steer clear of casting a full African American housewife. Or like Ava Dash is black, but she's also mixed. Or like Amara on that show is black, but she's mixed. Or you get what I'm saying?
Well, that's because they're catering to their white audience.
Well, absolutely, but there's a conversation that could be had about that. Uber is
Sudanese, Somali or Sudanese, one of the two.
What is Chanel Lyon? Look that up for me and tell me. I don't look it up for me and tell me if you could. But you get what I'm saying. Like Chanel Lyon is they even in Miami love, and I love all the girls. I love blackness no matter where it's from. I'm just calling out the fact that when they do put these people into these spaces, and these people are microaggressive or racist, they tend to seem to have a lot more tolerance than just an African American person would have. Gertie is Haitian. Kiki is Haitian. I'm looking at the black girls that they drop in on these white casts. Love the Love says Somali.
Oh wait, Uba is Chanel Ayan's cousin.
Yeah, you didn't know? Yeah, I just said that.
I didn't know that. I did not know that. Okay, so Ayan is Kenyan.
Okay.
So I guess Uba is as well.
I don't know. I don't know. I think she's Somalian.
Somalian, right? That's what I thought.
I don't know no more. Either way it goes, no disrespect. There's a conversation to be had that Bravo does not drop the African American girls into these casts. And oh my God, Brynn. As a black woman. Oh, now you're a black woman.
Yeah, if they are black women, they're worldly or from some other country.
Or they're mixed heavily to where they're passing.
Yeah.
Like they just don't drop an African American girl in these groups because they know. I just think that they would get a different response, in my opinion. And it's like it's so frustrating to watch them drop any black woman in these groups without the support, without vetting these people to make sure that they're not racist, to make sure that if someone does make a mistake and say something that is, that is handled appropriately, instead of them being fragile and getting defensive and being upset and then turning the tables and all of these things. Like when Garcelle said that you guys, exactly, Durga, we're going to read that in a little bit. But like when Garcelle said at the reunion that she heard from one of the ladies on the cast that Renna said that they wish they would have never brought race into this. And then Renna says, wow. So you just heard that in the whole time and you never told me? If you heard that, I wish you would have told me. Bitch, it ain't about me telling you. If you said it, I wish you would have motherfucking told me. But Garcelle didn't say that. So to Durga's point, Durga says, because an American black woman would have ate him up. I have been saying this since Garcelle, then Bose. I don't know. And that's not to say that these girls don't have that in them, but I don't know if it's, and
When
I
you're
don't
the
know.
only one, it's hard for you to do that. So
What's that?
what the other part of this is tokenism, and it's always the only one. And when you put a black woman in something where they're the only one, what are they supposed to do but fend for themselves? And that's exactly what's happening with Riley.
This Sean says Ebony K. Williams would have went off. Yeah, Ebony was going on before and after and during. Ebony was like, "What you say about black people?" They were like, "We just said, hey." Then when
So
they
the
did pull up, black
only
people were cussing them out. Then when they went, you know what I'm saying? Ebony was so miscast. I actually think Ebony would have been perfect for the reboot.
yeah,
Ebony was so miscast with that group of women.
the only black woman who's in a white cast would be Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. And then
Oh, Mary.
Mary.
But you see how they demonized Mary when they were absolutely racist and microaggressive towards her, and it wasn't even acknowledged on camera that hey, we supported Jenny Wynn and we were fucked up for that because she absolutely was a racist piece of shit. And I see why you didn't come to the reunion. We actually encouraged her to chase you down in an event and throw a glass at you. We see why you didn't come to the reunion. So you know what? No, we're not filming season 3 without Mary because that's fucked up. And you know what? Mary deserves to be here because this lady was a racist piece of shit. And we didn't see it because we were so busy making sure that we weren't racist to the Asian woman. Of course, the woman at the bottom of the totem pole was the black one. But no, they didn't do that. And I didn't even watch season 3 out of boycott. It took Mary to come back. If Mary didn't come back to this year, I wouldn't have watched the show to this year. Fuck them. I watched it because Mary came back. I boycotted.
Well, Durga, I wouldn't say that. Garcelle actually did call.
Oh, read her comment, please.
Okay. Darga said Garcelle and Bose didn't even call the racism outright, which is why it flops at times. I wouldn't say that. There was a point where Garcelle called Dorit an unconscious Karen. And what you also have to understand is the bots and especially when Diana was on the cast, they were attacking Garcelle nonstop. Remember, they attacked her son. So you got to understand when it's just one black woman there and you're being targeted not only on your cast, but on the internet, that's a lot to deal with. Look what they did to her son. So I get what you're saying, but she did call her out. And I mean, when I tell you I was fighting for my life on Twitter, when I would take up for Garcelle, I had to pin a message that I'm not playing with y'all. This is a Garcelle stand page, and do not come in my mentions with that racist-ish talking about Garcelle. And Garcelle really was not appreciated until she left.
I know y'all get offended when we have this conversation. Love says exactly has nothing to do with not being American. I just want you to know that y'all know I love everybody, so it's nothing personal. I just believe, and I could be wrong, and I'm willing to be corrected, but I do believe that, and that's because I'm not maybe ignorant to the fact that I have not grown up in other countries, and so that's not to say that racism does not exist, but I do know that there's a special brand of racism right here in America that I've been indoctrinated to it and ingratiated with and inundated with, you know, whether it was me directly or other people that I knew or growing up and this and that and this and that. And I just noticed the fact that they don't cast African American women on these shows or Black American women on these shows with predominantly white casts. So when the racism is thrown, or the microaggression is thrown, the way that it is dealt with is handled differently. And so, because it is different from what I would do or what I am used to, until they cast a person that is a Black American that has to deal with it, and I see them operate in that environment, then I don't have anything else to go off of. Does that make sense? Durga says, "You guys like the video, please. You guys like the video, please. Okay. Um, we would like to continue to grow. We cannot grow without you guys liking these videos, without you guys going into the hard comment section to comment on what we're talking about, and that pushes it further in the algorithm, so we can continue to grow past a certain point. And your support is greatly appreciated. We have conversations here that I don't really see across YouTube at large, in a panel discussion where everyone's involved and everyone gets a say and says how they feel, and whether we agree or we don't agree, we come back and we do it again. And so I like that. I love that, and I would like to continue to do that. And so, in order for us to continue to do so, we need to continue to have the support for us to have the discussions. Love of Love says non-American Blacks are not a monolith. Absolutely, they're not. And I'm not saying they're monolithic. I'm not saying that one isn't all the same. I'm just saying across Bravo, I haven't seen anything different. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying everybody's going to deal with it the same. I think what it is that they in my opinion, I feel like Bravo shies away from casting Black Americans, and B, I think that when they do cast Black people, they cast people who have different temperaments from a lot of other people. So when they do get fed up, it's still not going to get but to a certain point. Or, like when you guys say, oh, well, Garcelle played the game and so she couldn't do this and she couldn't do that. What does that speak to the environment that people like Garcelle and the other Black cast members amongst these white casts are in, that they feel like the white people can say whatever they want to say, but the Black people can't out of fear of retaliation? That's fucked up. That's the conversation. These are the conversations that need to be had. And these are the conversations I'm not seeing anywhere.
Here's the bottom line. Stop the tokenism. Don't put one Black person, regardless of whether they're African American, African, Haitian, whatever, on a cast with mostly white people and not have anybody else. I also don't see you casting Latinos on those shows. I also don't see you casting have we ever had a Indian woman on any of these shows? Is anybody Indian? No. Crystal was the only Asian, and then there was the doctor that, and what was that, Dallas?
Dr. Tiffany Moon.
Yeah, she looked at one of my
well, I believe
shout out to
in
Tiffany.
New York we have Jessel now.
Okay, and I'm gonna say it now too.
Somebody brought up Anila. Yuck.
New York is.
Don't bring up. Hold on, excuse me. Don't bring up Anila, baby, on this show. Okay, go ahead. We don't.
Oh, I forgot about her.
Bargain Basement Mariah next.
Yeah, I'm gonna say this. I just think that the diversity that they claim to have is very performative, and for it to be New York, and for y'all to recast and still give us something that is still lacks the diversity that is the Big Apple, that is very diverse, is really a shame on them, because there are so many different women you could have got, and women of all different races. And I mean, I've met them. It's just like it's a shame. You shouldn't have just one black person, one like shake it up.
And see, here's the thing, right? This is where I I fell out of disfavor with New York because the black representation in New York was Bryn,
And she's not representative of black
questionable, right? Yeah, what Bryn,
in New
and
York.
then there was also uh Sai, who says that she's black as well. Um,
Psy is boring to me, but go ahead.
well, I'm just talking about representation.
Okay.
There was Sai, right? You see where I'm going with what my point is and how they cast the black people. Um, she's black, but she's also Hispanic. She's black, but she's mixed and she doesn't operate in her blackness. And then Uba, right? And so then when they're at the reunion and they're having a conversation about racially insensitive things said, while I appreciate Uber for saying, "Oh, baby, my blackness is not tied to any struggle," right?
Hmm.
It was still ignorant for her to say because it negated the fact that for some, their struggle has been tied directly to their blackness. And so instead of taking the opportunity to educate the room and say, I'm still offended as a black woman because you said this shit, even though it did not pertain to me because that's not my life. You still said it because you thought it would. And so because you thought it would, let me get your ass together because that's not the read that you think it is, because that does not directly pertain to me. However, for you saying that, it does pertain to a lot of other people, and you're fucked up for that. Instead, she went and said that stuff and oh da, 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 and they all laughed about it and moved forward when what was said was not a laughing matter. And so for me, that is where I get up in arms because I feel like, what are we doing here? You know, but
If you ask me, Uber is already problematic for me because I didn't like what the hell she said in Puerto Rico. So I'm not gonna be an Uber fan. I take Uber's side in the the issue she had with Bryn. I do take her side on that. But to me, what she said in Puerto Rico was extremely problematic. And as a woman who came from where she came from, I agree with you. You might not have struggled, but and let me I haven't struggled either. And but the problem is that I would never walk around and disassociate something because I never felt it. My people have. And you know what? It's just it's so much going on in the world. I will say that with everything. And I just am disgusted with humanity at this point because there are people who just want to align themselves with whiteness, and yet this government does not see you as white because you're not, baby. And I wish, folks would really wake up to the fact that aligning yourself with whiteness will not help you in a lot of different ways. And, I don't know if these women on these casts see that either, but do you, boo? I mean, listen, I'm proud to be black and Latino. No, I don't even call myself, how about I don't even call myself Latino? I'm Hispanic. That's what I am. But it's a sad thing to watch. I don't like watching stuff like this on television. I want to see petty fights, luxury cars, shopping. I don't want to see this, and this is why I didn't watch this show, because I knew it was going to be some bullshit. Make me want to go find Charlie in the streets of New York and whip his ass.
well, excuse me. Y'all better put some bass in your race. That's all I got to say. All right. Monique is back on Real Housewives of Potomac, as we all know. Why y'all not ready to give Monique another chance? Y'all got to get over it. I had social media in an uproar 2 weekends ago because I felt like Wendy owed Monique an apology. But you know what I said? I'm gonna let it go. Y'all gonna have to let it go. We don't know what we're getting this season. Let it go. That fight was 5 years ago. Let it go. I've never seen a group of people hold like I didn't know people hated Monique for that fight like that. Like it's bad. Okay, I get it. I get it. Fighting is not good. I get it. Let it go, Elsa. These girls have moved on. And until Candace comes back, or until Monique whoops another ass, let it go.
I don't know if Candace coming back.
She'll probably come back.
You think she gonna come back with Monique on the cast?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. I don't think it's gonna be this season.
No.
But there's 11 and 12. But they getting that band back together. Karen's gonna get out. Hallelujah. Thank you, Jesus. She's gonna be back, and I think that that is the perfect time to bring Candace back as well. Get the gang back together again. Everybody, but no, thank you, Robin. None for Gretchen Wieners. None for Robin Dixon.
And Ashley can go. I need Ashley gone. I'm not gonna let up off that. I'm sick of her ass. She has nothing, and I don't care about this divorce with Michael. I don't. I no. I don't want her on my screen.
I like Monique too. So I mean, but if I'm letting it go with Wendy, I let it go with Candace. Let it go, y'all. Y'all
I'm
can
glad you let it go.
let it go.
I ain't gonna let go of Ashley's
Do I need to
ass.
let go? Do I need to grab onto you? So Monique and Jazzy exchanged niceties in the comments, and everybody's in an uproar about that. Yes, Jazzy is filming season 10, you guys. Yes, she is. Um, and so we don't know what role it's going to be in. We don't know if she's going to get full time or not, a friend or a guest, but she's filming. There are also two new girls that are filming, and Monique is back. Sharice was seen filming.
Oh, we definitely should have cut her loose. And
It's
her
season 10.
wig.
Y'all wasn't gonna be able to get season 10 without a Sharice. I'm sorry.
All
It's
right, but
season
her
10. Y'all know
wig.
she's gonna be here for season 10. Um,
Why her wig look like that in the picture?
I don't know, but it's interesting that Sharice is filming season 10 with Monique being back and Giselle. You know, I don't know what Giselle and Monique's situation is. They just met up today to film a scene.
Okay.
And so maybe Giselle is going to be the bridge that makes Sharice and Monique make up, or maybe Sharice got a new rumor. But the last time we saw Sharice, after she was freshly let go again from the Real Housewives of Potomac, she was out to dinner with Monique's ex-husband, Chris Samuels. So I'm sure that there's something to talk about there. So we will have a season this season. I don't know what we're gonna get at the beginning, but it looks like the middle to end of the season is gonna be a banger. So there
Sharice
is
like
that.
big boy.
But Monique won't say big boy. I mean, Giselle won't say that name. I have mouth no more wishes. Um, from there, I haven't read the article yet. We'll get into it because we're gonna go. We'll get into it further next week. But it looks like Kim and Croy have moved to dissolve their divorce.
they too they too broke to have it.
I'm so fucking tired of them.
I know one owes 1.8 million, and then together they owe 1.1 million in taxes. So Kim owes 1.8. I saw that. Is that the article you're referring to?
No, they have no. I wasn't talking about their issues with that. I was
Um,
referring to the fact that they have moved to dismiss their divorce filing. So like they don't want to get divorced anymore.
they too broke to. I could have told you that. That's why I
They
like
get
it.
divorced and stay together. They don't have to be. They don't have to be married to stay together. It's got
No,
to
they
be a reason
don't.
why.
But they too broke to get a divorce. That's what I'm saying. I
Well,
mean, you gonna divide? Are you gonna divide the what y'all owe?
I don't know, but I know Portia and Phaedra are pushing for um, Kim to come back next season, and no, thank you.
Hell no,
May happen. I don't know, y'all. It may happen.
Andy.
Um,
No,
what else did I want to run through real quick? Like a tomb, like a running through the house like a Tomb Raider. You gotta pass around. Yeah, how about that?
no,
Love
I
that song.
can't see Kim on that damn
Love that
show.
song.
Who asked for that?
Um,
She
what
thought she
else
was
is
too
there?
good. Take her little country, barefoot walking ass somewhere else, and you and Coy figure out where the hell how y'all gonna make some money and take care and feed all them damn kids. It won't be
All
them damn
right.
scratch offs.
How am I whoop they hit? Knowing Kim Luck, she probably will hit. Watch. Kim gonna hit one of them scratch offs. Um,
That's how she got into this. One of the reasons she got into that mess.
allegedly. We
Allegedly.
don't know. That's just what Court was saying, but we don't know if Court telling the truth neither. When they both were stealing allegedly from the daughter. So there's that.
Oh,
With that being said, I think that's gonna be it for tonight. Yeah. I think that's it for tonight, right?
yeah, nothing else really came out.
Um
Nothing. I mean,
There is an item going around about Britt Eady's lawsuit and her not actually filing it. The reason why I didn't report that on No Chaser TV's social media is because just because she has it doesn't mean that she won't. So there's that. That's why I didn't do it. And I know the jokes are there, the reads are there. Obviously, everything else is there, right? But
maybe it was a scare tactic.
absolutely. I know a lot of people, but you gotta file a motion first, I think, right? You gotta file something like
She didn't finish the steps.
Mariah.
Yeah, that's
I'm saying I
required.
think Mariah filed something and it was like, bitch, I got 30 days and we going to court.
Yeah,
And Bravo stepped right the hell on in because they knew she had a baby, right?
yeah.
But I don't know if she actually did the steps to do that. And so I don't know what they're gonna do with this one, y'all. I genuinely don't know. People are saying she has a case. They're saying she don't. I am not a legal expert. I don't know what she has, other than
Contracts, people.
audacity.
Yeah,
Uh,
the thing is it depends what's in the contract.
yeah. So I don't know, but somebody
There are
advised her.
some contracts that say you cannot sue us. There are some contracts that say we have a right. We've heard that, they have a right to manipulate storylines as they see fit, allegedly. There's it. Yes, there's a legal precedent, which is like, oh, yes, this is discriminatory or this is that. But we don't know what clauses are in her contract, are in those contracts. So that is the other legal part of it that everybody is not thinking of. And how would I know? I deal with contracts in my day-to-day work. And so these reality TV contracts are practically, think about baddies. If you get injured, they got to have a clause for that. Because everybody, allegedly, because people get injured if you're fighting all the time, right? Like, you can't sue us for being injured. You're doing this at your own risk or something to that nature. So I would go on to say that we don't know what type of clauses that Bravo has in their contract. So I don't know what she can sue for versus what she can't and things like that.
Marie Peck says Portia and Phaedra getting on her nerves. All right, then, Marie. With that being said, uh, one second, I can't find the daggone tab. There we go. Did anybody have anything they wanted to say? I want to drop the link really quickly. I should have did it earlier. I forgot to. but I figured you guys might
You
have
see
something.
what love says, right? Allegedly. You want me to read what she said?
That she didn't pay the file?
She said Britt failed to make payments allegedly to file her lawsuit allegedly.
Should have went to the reunion and got your reunion check. If that's true, you go on the reunion, you get paid for your 3 episodes of the reunion. Once you get that rest of your money, then you do your business. She handled it poorly. Somebody ill advised her, in my opinion, if that's true. That's the link. If you want to give us a call really quickly and talk about NextGen NYC or anything, you can. If not, we're going to go ahead and call it a night because Miami is on. Miami's on. So, you know what? Miami's on. Y'all have a good night. We will see you later.
Peace, y'all.
Bye, y'all. Thank you for tuning in. I appreciate it. Yeah. Ooh. I'm joking. I'm joking.